All right, it's about a minute past our start time, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Hopefully, if anybody is late, they'll jump right in. So first of all, I just want to say welcome to everybody who's joining us today to hear about how you can support your students with at-home tutoring during school closures. Before we get started, I just want to post a poll question to see everybody's experience with FEV Tutor. So just take a second and let us know if you've used this before, if you have some experience, no experience, just so we can kind of gauge where we're all at before we jump in. Awesome, I'm seeing the answers come in. I'm going to post them in just a second so everybody can see where we're all at. All right, let's see. So it looks like most of us don't have a lot of experience with FEV Tutor, which is really awesome. I'm glad that you're all here because we're going to be able to jump right in and talk about everything that you need to know to leave with all the tools that you need to help your students do their best and you know, keep their learning going with the schools being closed. So before we start, I just want to kind of go over a couple of expectations. Just so you all know, this webinar is being recorded. So you can use this as a resource. We'll send it out after the webinar and you can review it and use it for yourself if you need to kind of go over anything we talked about, but also feel free to share it with anyone who maybe couldn't join us today but wants to know more about tutoring. Also, you've probably already figured this out, but your mics are all turned off, but we really do encourage collaboration here at FEV Tutor, and we really want to hear your thoughts and your questions. So if anything comes up during the webinar that you want to ask about or make a comment about, send us a message through that chat box. Make sure that it's sent to all of our panelists so that we can answer them as we go. And we're also going to have some time at the end today to answer any other questions that we didn't get to during the session. All right, here are our panelists for today. My name is Heather. I am an academic support specialist, so I'm going to be here to answer some of your questions, like I said, as we go through. Daniel Hebert is our senior head of academics. He has experience teaching in Title I school districts in Mississippi and at high-performing, high-poverty charter school networks, which now informs his work as a leader in the ed tech industry. Daniel leads a team of academic success coaches who collaborate with school district partners nationally to design and implement custom online tutoring programs modeled to drive measured student achievement gains. Diana Cunningham is our senior academic success coach. She is a licensed teacher and she works closely with educators and students nationally to customize and implement online tutoring programs designed to meet the unique needs of our partner schools and districts. Diana works with our partners to ensure that tutoring programs are set up for success by supporting them with each step of the way through a collaborative process of blueprint planning, monitoring academic progress throughout the academic year, and she's also here to help us learn more about how FEV Tutor can help your students learn while they are at home. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to Daniel. He's going to start us off.
Thank you so much, Heather, and hello, everyone. Like Heather mentioned, my name's Daniel Hebert. I'm excited to be with you all today. Our aim at FEV Tutor is really to help students grow academically, which we know is critically important, especially during this school closure time period. So we very much appreciate you all throughout the state of Texas. It looks like, based off of our attendees, we appreciate you taking the time to join us and to learn a little bit more about FEV Tutor and how we might be able to work together to support academic achievement through the spring and summer months. The way that we help students grow academically is really based on our commitment to personalizing instruction for each individual student who we work with. So our academic success team, including Diana Cunningham, our other panelists today, who works very closely with many of our school and district partners throughout the state of Texas, our academic success team is all made up of former classroom teachers And we work very closely with teachers, principals, and other school leaders from our partner schools in order to understand the curriculum and assessments that students are taking to help inform our one-to-one online tutoring instruction, so that the instruction we're delivering is inherently and closely connected to students' core learning environments. Specifically in the state of Texas, our team is intimately familiar with the TEKS standards and the STAR and EOC and TSIA assessments. And whether you're coming from Dallas or Midland or Ector County, or if you're enrolled in a charter school or a virtual school, our team is intimately familiar with your curriculum. And all of the tutoring is actually sponsored by our school partners. So it's free of charge to students and parents. It's 100% sponsored by our school partners. In order to individualize instruction for individual students, we also have a department that's called our Family and Student Engagement Team that speaks directly over the phone with students and parents to help develop personalized tutoring schedules and plans that fit for them. We also provide progress monitoring, progress reporting back to all key stakeholders, including students and parents, things like weekly progress reports, so that we're keeping everyone up to speed along the way. During the presentation today, we are going to show a live demonstration of our online tutoring platform to give everyone a firsthand look at what tutoring looks like. We're also going to give you the steps on how you can get your student up and running with tutoring. But before we do that, I want to bounce it over to Diana to share a little bit more specifically about what we have going on currently and how we're supporting students during the spring and summer, especially during school closures. So I'll kick it over to you, Diana.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Dan. As Dan mentioned, we work with schools and districts throughout the state of Texas and also nationally to ensure that we're supporting students and families now during school closures, in the spring, and continuing into the summer months. So we as an organization are dedicated to providing this ongoing added layer of support to students and families. We know that a lot of our schools and districts are heavily focused on avoiding any type of summer slide due to students being out of school during school closures and throughout the summer months. Our goal is really to provide an added layer of support to schools and districts and to our students in order to allow them to work with one-on-one tutor on their own individualized learning plan, so that they can continue to work on skill building while also preparing for the upcoming academic year. We know that oftentimes there's a lot of sort of anxiety and just questions about, you know, what school will look like in the fall when schools do open back up. We want families to know that we're here to help. We're here to be an added layer of support throughout the summer months. We support students throughout the state of Texas and nationally in grades 3 through 12, and we provide tutoring support in all core subjects. So students are taking advantage of one-to-one tutoring in math, ELA, science, and social studies, as they're looking not only to work on skill building from this academic year, but also sort of looking ahead to next academic year. Our goal is always academic growth. And so in each and every one of our sessions, students are working with their tutor on their own learning objective that's been identified specifically for them based on their individual needs. And we're tracking progress over the course of time. So at the end of each of our tutoring sessions, students are taking a little mini exit ticket that's designed to gauge their level of mastery. And we're reporting all of this information back to teachers, to administrators, and to students and families so that everyone is able to track progress over the course of time. We're also using it when we plan ahead. So students are, we're informing our instruction based on how students are performing. One thing I love about online tutoring as a former classroom teacher is the ability to sort of tweak and be flexible with our learning plans and the content that students are working on in the sessions. So our goal is really to continue to work with students and families, as well as your teachers and your administrators in the spring and summer, to continue to adapt your learning plan to meet your needs as time goes on.
Excellent. Thanks, Diana. And I know you're going to pull up a live demonstration. And while you're doing that, I'll just provide some verbal context for everybody on the webinar today, just to give you an idea of what we're looking at. So what Diana is pulling up now is our online tutoring platform. So everything that we do in terms of online tutoring, everything is device agnostic, meaning that students can access our platform from any device, computer, desktop computer, laptop, you name it. It works across all different devices. Basically anywhere with an internet connection, students can access our platform. When they're logged into their accounts, if they have a scheduled tutoring lesson at that time, they're going to be prompted to join their scheduled lesson. We do offer flexible scheduling options, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Central Time, as well as on weekends. Students also have the ability to request on-demand support as well. So if they're stuck in the moment and they want to meet with a tutor, they have the ability to do that. What you're seeing here is a live tutoring session. Diana's meeting with her tutor, Paul. There's a variety of ways that Diana is able to communicate with her tutor. In general, students can communicate with their tutors in any of these ways. We call these our learning style options. So a lot of students actually prefer the anonymous nature of the digital communication via chat or instant messaging. So that's one option. We also have an auditory component. So if students have earbuds or headphones available, they can plug those in, and then anything that their tutor types has the option to be read out loud to them so that they can get that auditory engagement. And then we also have a verbal option as well. So you'll see down in the bottom left-hand corner, as Diana's working with Paul here, you'll see there's a headset icon, which students can activate at any point in time to speak back to their tutor through one-way student voice. So all of these options are in play. It's really up to individual students to gravitate towards, whatever works best for them according to their learning style. So Paul is treating Diana as though she's a student showing up on the first day, giving her a quick orientation to the whiteboard. Generally students in this day and age will pick up on, these tools relatively quickly and then jump right into instruction. So our instructional lessons follow a gradual release of responsibility model. I do, we do, you do, with an exit ticket at the end. So students and tutors will work together to achieve mastery on a daily exit ticket. In addition to our TEKS-aligned instructional lessons, which students can use for the sake of test prep, skill building, you name it. In addition, we also have the ability to work with students on coursework support and homework help. So if they're stuck on an assignment or a problem, our tutors can work with students directly on that. And we have a variety of ways that students can actually upload and share their assignments and their problems with their tutors, which we'll demonstrate in just a bit. What you're seeing here is real-time adaptive instruction. So this is Paul writing up on the screen in blue. Diana is interacting with Paul, chatting, and then they're working together on the whiteboard at the same time. Our tutors are trained to work with students on any skill deficits that they might have. So, if we're working on order of operations, the example that we're looking at here, and let's say, we need some additional practice on exponents, tutors are trained to, work with students individually, provide them with the support that they need so that they can ultimately demonstrate mastery on their exit ticket by the end of each and every tutoring lesson. Everything that you're looking at here is recorded as well. So everybody, including students, parents, teachers, and administrators, will have access to the recorded tutoring lessons. We provide the recordings back to everyone as a link to a video file so you can watch them back. You can watch them back at ×5 speed. Students oftentimes will do this if they want to, review something that they covered with their tutor previously. Also, teachers and administrators will have access to it, for documentation purposes. Relevant to a lot of the work that we're doing throughout the state of Texas, we work with a lot of English language learners, ELL, ESL students, migrant student populations. We also have a language toggle built into the platform. So everything so far has been in English, but we also have the ability to toggle back and forth between English, Spanish, and any other language. So Diana just flipped over to Spanish. You'll see that all of the content on the screen, as well as the chat in the chat window, is translated in real time back and forth between English and Spanish or whatever the student's preferred language is. So with that, real-time translation tool. We're having a lot of success working with ELL, ESL students. They have that. It's essentially an English immersion model where the communication with the tutor is back and forth in English, and then they have that real-time translation available at their fingertips to help bridge any gaps that might exist. Diana is demonstrating here how we do provide coursework support and homework help tutoring. So she just uploaded a file from her desktop. In addition to the ability to upload files, students also have a screen share button on the platform. So down in the bottom left, you'll see a screen share icon that Diana is hovering over now. If we were to select this screen share icon, everything that the student has open on their web browser, whether they have an assignment open on another tab or whatever the case might be, the tutor would be able to see that. So they can quite literally get on the same page very quickly in a streamlined manner. At the tail end of every tutoring lesson, students are provided with an opportunity to share some feedback about their experience. The reason that we do this is because we really value and we empower the student voice as part of the process. So we want to hear from students. We want to hear from parents. We do have a 24/7 support team that solicits a lot of feedback from students and from parents and from teachers. In addition to that, this feedback form that you're seeing here is just another opportunity for students to rate their tutor on a scale of 1 to 5, provide some comments on their experience. So if there's a preferred tutor that any student wants to work with, or if they have other feedback on their experience, they can share that here. All of this is documented. We review the feedback on our end too, to help inform and further personalize the tutoring experience for individual students. I'm going to kick it over to Diana here. We're just going to give you, without getting too deep into it, we're just going to give you sort of the basics about the student dashboard, how to request an on-demand session, how to book a scheduled session, how to pull a couple of different reports. We'll keep it brief because we know everyone's time is limited today, but I'll kick it over to Diana to do that, and then we'll wrap up towards the end with a quick how-to in terms of how to get up and running, and we'll give everyone a chance to ask questions as well.
Thanks, Dan. So what you're looking at here is the student dashboard, and this is available to students 24/7. Any student who has access to online tutoring is able to log into their student dashboard. And there's 2 ways to access a tutoring session. The first way is to request an on-demand session. So this is available 24/7 to students. So say a student's working on an online assignment, they're looking for some additional real-time help. Clicking this on-demand session will allow them to choose their subject. They can indicate to their tutor what it is they're looking for support with, if they have a file they want to upload, or even just a question they need help with. Again, this is available 24/7, so a lot of students are using this for real-time coursework help. Likewise, right on the student dashboard, you'll see that there's a calendar. Students are able to book sessions directly here in their dashboard in advance. They can book a one-time session or even set up a recurring schedule. We find that a lot of our students choose to set up a weekly tutoring schedule with us. Many students are choosing to work with their tutor 2 or 3 times a week. The benefit of setting up a weekly schedule is that we really are able to have that consistency, and also are able to match the student up with the same tutor each time, so that over the course of time, they're able to build a relationship and sort of a working rapport with their tutors. So we find that a lot of our students choose to set up a weekly schedule with us and then sort of use that on-demand option as needed. There's a lot of different reports that students can pull right in their dashboard. Students are able to see their progress, so they can take a look at how they've been performing on those exit tickets in any subject in which they've been tutoring. All of the sessions, as Dan mentioned, are recorded, so there is a session-by-session breakdown here in the session history, where students can basically see the day and time that they worked on a session, who their tutor was, how they performed, what specifically they were working on. The session recording will be right in here, as well as the chat conversation. Really helpful for students who are looking to go back and do some review of a concept. And lastly, students who are participating in tutoring will be able to see their learning plan. So we're working with our schools and districts to create individualized learning plans for our students, utilizing benchmark assessment data as well as input from teachers and parents and families. So students who are working through their own set of learning objectives will be able to see their set of learning objectives right here in their learning plan. And then as they work with their tutor over the course of time, they'll be able to track their progress. So some students might have more than one learning plan if they're tutoring in more than one subject. Again, all of these reports can be pulled in more detail over here on the left-hand side of the dashboard. I won't get too into detail just because I want to be mindful of everyone's time today, but that's basically a brief overview of the capabilities of the student dashboard.
Awesome, thanks, Diana. And just to piggyback on all of that, in addition to the reporting dashboard, everything that you're seeing here, we also push information out to parents and to students and to teachers and really to everyone involved through email as well. The reason that we do that is because, as former teachers, we know, everyone is busy. So they may or may not have time to log in and, pull reports and do all of that on a daily or weekly basis. And so we push a series of reminders and reports out through email and through text message as well. So any of you who answered the poll question at the beginning, indicating that you have used FEV Tutor before, you're probably familiar with the weekly progress reports that we send every Monday via email. We also send real-time session reminders through text message and email. Any of those can be turned on or off at any time. We just put them into place to help, with connecting students with services and to keep everyone informed of the progress that students are making while they're meeting with their tutors. So Heather's pulling back up our presentation here. Like Diana demonstrated, we are soliciting feedback from students on a daily basis throughout the state of Texas and nationally. So this is just some sampling of some of the recent feedback that we've received through those feedback forms. We're getting, thousands and tens of thousands of student comments every day that we're reviewing and analyzing on our end. Here's just a quick sampling, just to give you an idea of the types of student experiences that are happening currently in the state of Texas. Again, just being mindful of everyone's time. We want to just, A, open it up for questions, and B, we want to also just provide a clear picture on how students can get started with tutoring. So the quickest and easiest way to get up and running is to communicate directly with our scheduling and support team. So since tutoring is a living and breathing service, we have to have a very robust scheduling and support team. So we have hundreds and thousands of emails and phone calls going back and forth each day to help students set up schedules, book makeup sessions, you name it. So the best way to do any and all of that is to email our 24/7 support team at support@fevtutor.com. We also have an 855 phone number that we can type into the chat where anyone can call to set up a weekly schedule as well. We really just need to know your name, where you're coming from, what school district you're coming from, and then what your preferred days, times, and subjects are for tutoring, and then you'll be off and running. We do have sessions that are available Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and on weekends. So just shoot us a quick email and we'll get you started right away. Typically, it takes us just between 24 to 48 hours to get students started. So if you wanted to get going later on this week, you absolutely could. Or if you wanted to start next week, you could do that as well. We can open it up now for questions. I've been trying to track the chat window as we've been presenting here to see what questions that have come across. We can also just pull some general FAQs, some frequently asked questions that we oftentimes receive from students and from parents and others. But if you do have any questions, please send those across through the chat window now. We can socialize any of those with the group here because in many cases, the questions are oftentimes relevant for a larger audience as well. Ray Portillo asked, he saw that we do support students in 3rd through 12th grade, late elementary, middle, and high school, and asked the question, do you have tutors that can work with younger students as well? So like 1st grade, 2nd graders. The answer is yes. The reason that we say 3rd through 12th grade is because our research and our empirical data shows that we're able to effectively drive achievement gains on scale with students from 3rd through 12th grade. That's not to say, though, if any district, wants to give it a shot, or any students or parents want to give it a shot, who are in 1st grade or 2nd grade, we're willing to give it a shot. You've seen our platform, so you can see how it takes sort of a base level of digital communication skills in order to operate effectively inside of our online tutoring platform. So if you do have younger students, in addition to your 3rd through 12th graders, feel free to reach out and we can do our best to support them as well. Diana, you want to take this one? English learners?
Yeah, Dan, will you just read the question aloud to me? For some reason, I'm unable to actually see the chat window.
That's okay. It's helpful for the whole group to hear the question read out loud anyway, so that's perfect. One of our attendees asked, do you have tutors that work with English language learners?
That's a great question. Yeah. So we, as Dan mentioned previously, we work with a high number of English language learners throughout the state of Texas. And we have tutors that are very familiar and experienced with working with our English language learner population. So we oftentimes find it's helpful if you want to let us know that your student is an English language learner and what their first language is. It's helpful to share that information because we can make sure we're pairing them up with a tutor who can best support them and who can also really support them in the sessions with using the various learning style options, ensuring that they're able to activate the microphone if they prefer to communicate in that way and have the text-to-speech read aloud turned on, as well as supporting them with using that Google toggle feature so that they can toggle back and forth between English and their preferred language.
Excellent. Other frequently asked questions, and thank you all for sending these. These are really great questions that you're sending across through the chat window, so appreciate that. Another question that we often get is, can you work with students directly on the assignments that their teachers are assigning them? Whether, we know teachers are using a variety of platforms right now to actually send home work with students. Some even sent students home with work packets, before the first day of school closures. Others are using tools like Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, a variety of online learning platforms. Our tutors can work with students directly on any of those platforms. And there's a lot of options and ways that families and teachers and others can share the assignments with us ahead of time so that our tutors can use those to prepare. So we do have a screen share feature that's built in directly to our platform. If you're using the Google Chrome web browser, there's a plugin that's called the FEV Tutor Screen Share plugin that you'll just need to add to your Chrome web browser. And then once that plugin is added, students can select the screen share button when they're meeting with their tutor. And then anything that they have open on their screen or another web browser tab can be shared directly with their tutor. They can actually see it. As another option, a lot of parents, a lot of students, and others will email our support team ahead of time with any standards or assignments that students need to focus on. That way it gets into our tutors' hands in advance, and we can use those resources to prepare and tailor the lessons accordingly. In addition to that, we've also worked with several of our school partners throughout the state of Texas to gain direct access to the students' courseware. So if you're using online courses at your charter school, your virtual school, or at your traditional brick and mortar school district, a lot of our partners have set us up with access to those courses so that we can actually, our tutors can actually see it firsthand. So all of these options are in play. If you're wondering how you can share academic inputs and assignments with your tutor ahead of your next lesson, my recommendation, sort of a catch-all solution, would be just to send an email across to our support team, list out what you need help on, what assignments you're working on. You feel free to make any attachments to the email that you send, and we can build that directly into your instructional plan. All right. We're generally trying to keep these presentations somewhere in like the 30 to 35-minute range, just because we know everyone is super busy. So we really appreciate you all taking the time to join us today. Heather, if you want to flash back up on the screen our how to get started slide, I think it just might be a good way to sort of round things out. Just as a reminder, if you're not yet started with FEV Tutor and you would like to get started this week, next week, at any point in the spring and summer, send an email to our support team. Let us know who you are, where you're coming from, and what your preferences are for tutoring days, times, and subjects. We do have a lot of availability right now for different times of the day. That availability might get taken up relatively quickly as we're doing a series of these webinars in the next few days here. So better to send us a quick email, lock in your spot, and we can get you set up with the schedule. Any final words here, Diana, Heather, before we log off? I'm also just giving an opportunity for anyone to fire across any last minute questions here too.
Oh, we want to thank you all for your time. We really appreciate it. We're looking forward to working with everyone in the next few weeks here and the end of the school year and into the summer months as well.
We also recorded this session too, and so we'll send a follow-up with a link to the recording so you all can access this, share the link with anyone else who wasn't able to attend from your school or from your district. But thank you all again. We're gonna wrap it up here. I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us. Everyone be safe, hang in there.
Thanks, everyone.